Hi and welcome to Beats Rhymes Life Pod. We are back after a very long hiatus.
Yeah, a lengthy absence,
You know, life shit, COVID shit,
lockdown.
shit. But yeah, we're back in the studio. Happy to be back, of course. Obviously, usual faces. Myself, the one and only Riz.
It's me, Ash, and unfortunately, there's no Shakira. She's locked down.
Yeah, she's self isolating,
Yeah, unfortunately. So we're out here carrying the flag today.
of course, as we do. But we have a lovely guest with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. I am Melissa D, a music blogger, a music reviewer, music lover.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Before we get into anything, obviously, just tell us a little bit about obviously yourself and what you do, your blog, where the people can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at thatmelisd, that's DEE. I do music reviewing, videos, and I also write mainly about R&B because I'm literally in love with R&B and neo soul and soul. But I champion UK R&B first and foremost.
So we can have a good conversation.
We can have
then.
a great conversation.
Yay!
But yeah, obviously, how's you guys' weeks been?
Long.
Long.
As long could be.
Oh, you guys are working from home, right?
A bit of both. I'm still in the office a few days a week.
Yeah, I start.
Yeah.
I joined the gang on Monday.
Yeah.
So
I got a 2-year-old at home, man. There's only so much work I can do from home. So
that's fair. I'll be in that in the bando. Don't charge me, man. I'm just out here trying to make ends meet. But yeah, it's like I said, it's been a while since we've been able to kind of record. But yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on, obviously, in the world and in the music world in particular.
a hell of a lot.
Where would you like to kick things off?
Well, do you know what? I'm going to avoid some of the obvious stuff that's going on at the moment at first because it's just funny, innit? But something that I found really funny that I thought would be good to talk about first was Stormzy and Chip.
Oh, if we can cast our minds back to such a time.
It wasn't that long ago. It's just because he's been ignored. That's why I wanted to talk about it.
Your thoughts?
So there's obviously rumours floating around about how it all started and whatnot. I'm not going to comment on those rumours, but if somebody turns up at your house,
All bets are off.
yeah, for one, and two, you then hold on to that footage and wait to drop it months later to then drop 2 diss tracks and tell us you're coming with a mixtape. Now, here's the thing. Realistically, we all like beef, innit? Like music beef. We want to see artists clash, beef each other, etc., etc.
Especially grime MC.
Yeah, like, and we know Chip will spin 99.9% of them as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I think there's a few people like Chip and Gets, etc., that you shouldn't really
Don't
clash.
poke that beast.
Like, you don't want to do that. So, from that sense, it's like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, we're getting another beef. We get to hear some more disses. But at the same time, the way the situation went down, just from what's been given to us, not the rumored stuff, it's kind of like, but why? Like, you needed this to make the mixtape to like put yourself out there again. I feel like Chip shouldn't need to clash someone
To make
or
himself
put a dish out
relevant.
to make himself relevant, because I feel like he's at that point that I think he recovered enough from the Bugsy thing and the Tiny and the Young'un and all of that happening to be like, okay, if he drops something, we're probably going to check for it for the most part.
Well, that's the thing for me in terms of, obviously, if you look at the actual beef, we always know that Chip is going to bring a certain energy in regards to when he does get into that mode.
Yeah.
And you see him pull up at the show. For me, I'd heard diss songs like months before they came out.
Yeah, I heard they'd been floating for a while.
They'd been floating. So for me, it wasn't a surprise, but it was just in regards to, like you said, I think Chip's a credible enough artist that he doesn't need to rely on that as a rollout. And
Yeah.
especially in the space that we are in regards to how popping the UK rap, grime, whatever you want to call it, scene is, let your music ultimately be.
Yeah, like, I think I'm not mad at that. This is a rollout in general, in terms of if you're going to be someone, then you're going to put music at the back of it, whatever. But like you've already done this, like you've done it to death, innit?
Yeah.
So it's like if you actually have a full like real reason kind of thing, and it's like, okay, this has just happened, I'm putting it out there, because he's never said he's the road guy. He's never said he's the guy.
But that's also one of the things for
Like-
me that is a bit like, obviously my allegiance is towards, in terms of preference for whose music I check for, like I'm always gonna support Chip musically.
Yeah, all day long.
But there's also an element of you can't always rely on that out of I'm not a bad boy, because not everyone plays by the same rules, innit? And it's in a sense it's easy to go and, like I said, bark up certain trees when you know that, one, they can't rap with you, two,
They probably can't get it in the other way as well. Like,
so
yeah.
a lot of the time I do feel it's like, and that's not to necessarily say that obviously he isn't or hasn't done stuff that people should respect musically, because
Yeah.
before all of these guys, Chip was flying the flag. Obviously he went out to America, it didn't necessarily work out the way that he expected.
people always make the Chris Brown joke and all of that. So.
But in terms of obviously relevancy, he had the mixtape with the D Block UK and Skepta. What's his name again? Is it Young Ads?
Young Ads.
Yeah, and people, like, it wasn't for me.
I'll be honest with you, I could have done with that just being a Skepta and Chip album.
Okay.
And Young Ads didn't bring nothing to it.
Are you a Young Ads fan?
Not really. I don't really listen to D Block Europe.
Me either.
Cool. That makes 3 of us. But like, no, because you know what, the music wasn't actually bad, but it's just when you're looking at the content that was provided on the album, it didn't make sense for Young Ads to be on so many tracks. Like, you've got Chip doing what he's doing, which
And Chip and Skepta complement each other very well.
very well. Like, some people might not like Skepta. Like, I'm not necessarily a huge Skepta fan, but can he spit? Yes.
Yes.
And he has a presence on the song, so I can't, I'm not really going to say too much about him. And then when Young Ads come in, it's like, they're taking the energy out of it for me. Anyway, I'm digressing. Like we were saying with Chip.
Yeah, he doesn't, like, for me, he should rely on the music rather than the theatrics.
I agree. Because you put out 2 disses in basically one day, wasn't it? And then was like, there's more to come and hurry up and rare.
There's no mixtape, though.
Stormzy didn't say nothing. And then we got a 3rd song, which wasn't a diss track, that was just a single.
And it's been cricket since.
And there's still been no mixtape.
Yeah, so the rollout didn't work.
No, it didn't work. And I really, after the Wiley and Stormzy thing, I really, really wanted to see somebody that's coherent spar with Stormzy. Because if it was Wiley like maybe
4 years ago?
4 or 5 years ago, then it would have been an absolute body bag. But this Wiley, no, they were entertaining, and I liked them, and I still preferred them just because I prefer Wiley as an MC to Stormzy. But I really wanted to see somebody proper go at it with him, and someone that wasn't just going to be laughed at, which Wiley was to an extent.
Again, for me, I'm not sure about you, but was you expecting to hear a Stormzy response?
I was. I didn't see why he wouldn't. So I, like everybody else, was kind of waiting. Cool, what's Stormzy going to say? What's Stormzy going to say? And then you just see him. He didn't even say nothing.
He's been going about his business.
Facts.
But to me, like, again, innit, I don't feel, like I said, as much as Chip shouldn't necessarily need to rely on that, I also don't think Stormzy can get away with positioning himself at the top without engaging. Like, you can't pick and choose for me and then say you're the guy, because you wasn't really the guy. In terms of how he ended up in that spot was kind of by default anyway, because the grime scene kind of moved out of London and you had people like Jamar, Manga still doing their thing, DWE still doing their thing, and no one was really focusing on the, what we would call staple London grime MCs.
No, and then the
and
people...
they was doing other types of alternative stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a
much grime.
sudden Stormzy just emerged from the smoke and the flames and was like,
Like
he's
an
the
eagle.
guy. And then he was like, yeah, Mobo
Like he's
would
come out of a war-torn country.
yeah, like, no disrespect to like him or his grind or his hustle or whatever, but I don't remember it being like a situation where Stormzy had actually musically put himself at the top of the tree, but he just found himself there because he's not better than a lot of guys that do what he's claimed to be the king of.
No,
for me,
I think he's a versatile artist, and like, yeah, you do all these different sounds and stuff, and like, do you know what? It's gonna sound so prickish, but it's like good for you, innit?
Yeah. Like you made your money and I'm happy
Like,
for you, but
you-
it's just like I don't necessarily like it's good to see like a young black guy from obviously the ends come and like make
Yeah, absolutely. From
moves
that
in the
perspective,
industry.
like more power to you, innit? Like keep doing well. But in terms of like this arena that we're talking about, you haven't proved yourself, and therefore you can't claim anything as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, we'll see how things develop.
there's
Do you not
going
think
to
it's
be
done?
no development. It's done.
It's actually over. We've moved on.
I don't know, man. Like obviously,
been radio silence.
Chip's got a whole mixtape, a whole project coming out, and I doubt. Obviously, certain other little bits and pieces have been spoken about as to why Stormzy broke up with Maya Jamal, but we're not going to get into all
I
of
already
that.
said I wasn't going to adjust the room and stuff. I ain't going to be that guy.
Cool. So moving on, we might as well keep it on beef. Obviously, this week there's been how you call it, verbal jousting.
Verbal jousting, I like that.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Nole and Chillery. Obviously, we have a female with us. How do you feel about two, how you say, women of color going at each other, especially in a time where obviously, I suppose black lives are supposed to matter.
I mean, black lives do matter.
Of course.
I'm a spectator in this because this ain't even my scene. So I've just been watching what
From the
everybody else is.
outside.
Yeah, I've been watching from the outside. So yeah, I don't really have not much of an opinion on this one, unfortunately.
For me, all right. Although you're a spectator,
Yeah.
how do you feel about two women basically tearing each other down as it pertains to what they would say European beauty standards?
What were they talking about? Were they talking about each other's looks and like?
Yeah.
Hillary was
some-
talking about Nole's big nose.
Big nose.
all of
Oh.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit. I don't know.
They called each other bitch a lot as well.
I mean,
You
that's
know,
part of
See,
the
that was
time.
cracked me up.
Why? Because you think are you?
No, but it's like there's other words that you can say than bitch, isn't it? Like if you're dissing each other, it's like so like obviously Nole is much better than Trillery, and Trillery apparently doesn't write her rhymes, which we seem to have proof of because when her diss was uploaded
The
to
metadata.
Spotify,
Credits.
it had Pac-Man's credits on it, and he was like, "No, it's just the default when I upload music, blah 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 blah." But that's not necessarily how it works because you see bare stuff on Spotify with zero metadata on there, but yours happens to be on.
Well, he's obviously said in a private DM to Nole, like obviously, like, can you delete the tweet?
yeah,
It's
you're
messing with my
fucking
business.
up the base for me. But
Criminal
Yeah,
and
so
that.
I don't know. Like, obviously, either way, some janky behaviour's going on somewhere along the line. But in terms of for me, you know how I feel about female MCs in general in regards to certain topics.
Please elaborate.
yeah, please elaborate.
I'm gonna
Liz.
put this in the most PC way
Okay.
possible.
Usually,
me
when he
just-
does that, it ends up sounding worse.
Oh, okay.
Like, I appreciate women in hip hop, but not when they're doing this.
Wait, doing what? Dissing each other for each other's looks?
No, not just dissing each other in general. Like in terms of like, you see like how men that will like, it's normally stems from a. Well, in the hood, for me, I don't know about you guys, but in the hood, beef normally stems off of one of three things: money, gal, or there's been a violent altercation, and none of that has occurred here. So for me, I don't understand why it needs to become disrespectful in regards to if you're just trying to display lyrical ability, then it can be that without all of the extras and all of the like big nose and big lips. Because for me, that's not really. It's not celebratory, innit? In terms of as women, innit? In terms of like, it's not something that I want to like take in. It's not a message that I. That was my PC.
Can I stop you for a second?
That was my.
So
It's been a minute. They might have forgot, Ash. They might
so,
have forgot.
So you, in this scenario, you don't necessarily appreciate Trillery calling Nole a big nose bitch.
And I don't
but-
appreciate
but-
Nole's calling Trillery a big lip bitch.
Right, even though we never see her lips anyway, because that stupid mask. But
No, we see her lips.
but-
I've seen her lips. Some nice lips.
anyway, you're
Just
talking
say-
about that in specifics to women, where if somebody in a diss track called another guy a big nose prick, would that bother you or not? I feel like I know what you're trying to get at.
You
but I
know
feel
the
like
point
you
that I'm
haven't
trying to
worded-
make here, but I'm treading around it carefully.
Is it that context that, I mean, you mentioned in the first question you asked me about the Eurocentric features and that's what they're digging
I'm
each other out on. Is that
I'm gonna piggyback off whatever you say just to get myself.
because I want answers. So is it because they are women that you feel like looks are off the table? They can't come for each other's looks?
Yeah, let's just say that.
Or in any general sense, man or woman, they can speak about
Well,
big
how
nose, big
often?
lips, all
Like,
of this.
obviously, you lot's King Nas thought it was cool to talk about Jay-Z's big lips, but like to me, I don't really rate that either.
So it's in general, it's not just specific
Yeah,
to
like
women.
why does someone's look affect their ability to like produce music? And I'm saying that because I'm trying to tread carefully out of this corner. And Ash is looking at me dead in the eyes like, nigga, you ain't slick. I'm trying to be slicker than a can of oil right now. But yeah, nah, to me, it's just like, for instance, the whole playground stuff for me. Like, like, if two MCs are gonna go back and forth, it can be done in a way more articulate and witty way for me in general, irrespective of them being male or female. First and foremost. Secondly, I just don't like seeing two black queens trying to tear each other down. To me, it's just not progressive.
Nice
and that's
save.
where we're gonna leave.
Nice save. I see where you went with that. I got one more question for the witness here.
Go ahead.
So, Gucci talking about burying Jeezy's partner in the dirt.
That's like, again, for me. Can we get to that later, or are we just gonna move on? Because I don't really have anything else to say on the Trillery Nole.
So wait,
topic.
in conclusion, for you, women in rap, if they are beefing, they shouldn't hit below the belt.
You're
Yeah.
saying
Get
it should stay
personal.
lyrical.
The
basically.
parameters should be a bit different for me.
Why?
Again, like I said, I feel. Again, a lot of male rappers are not going to be judged on their image the same way that a female is. In terms of, we look at the generic.
I mean, look at Biggie. Like, and
No,
a lot
but in
his
terms of
lyrics
a
are
female,
self-depreciating,
a
like, so-
female, like, for instance, even Nole herself, yeah, I don't know whether or not people are going to attribute her struggles industry-wise, and I'm going to automatically attribute that to her image. She seems like a very vivacious personality that may ruffle feathers because she doesn't toe the line. But I'm sure there's people that would say, and I didn't say this again, but her image is a part of why she isn't as far as her
I'm gonna
musical
say it.
ability.
And it's nothing to do with, like, I don't think it's like my opinion or your opinion that she looks a certain way and etc. 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 It's just facts. Like, when it comes to women in music, more often than not, sex sells regardless of the music that they're making or not. Unfortunately, it's just a fact of the situation. Like, I feel like
And I'm sure Nole is like somewhat aware of the
I think
connotation.
she's aware, and I think she doesn't care at this point because
She's trying to
she's
switch it up.
respected
Yeah.
as
An MC.
as an MC. So you know she's gonna spin someone, and off the back of this, she's apparently signed some big deal. So she's like, cool, like, I'm done now, innit? Like, I've got whatever I needed out of it. But I feel like this came up ages ago on the pod with Mahalia.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, she's not further than she is now because she's not necessarily like
typical.
sexy or the typical type of girl that they want to see making that kind of music. Which I feel like there's an element of that to it with her. But she's sick. And I feel like
Mahalia's
she's just gone on a slower path maybe than she would have. That's all. But I think it's there, and I just think it's one of those things that's like an unconscious bias, I think. Naturally, like, as a guy, you can just look like whatever, innit? Don't matter.
Yeah. People don't necessarily
No one gives a
look
fuck.
look at guys and think, oh yeah, like, it helps if you're good on the eye, innit, in terms of bringing in the female audience. But
Yeah.
women kind of, unfortunately, that's what they, 9 times out of 10, when the label's looking at you, they're thinking, can we sell sex with you, innit? Which is unfortunate, but that's the industry, innit?
So to conclude, you're saying that because of the powers that be that are preventing women from going as far as they should be in rap, those same women should not use that to
Tear each other down.
tear each other down.
Yeah. Ash, can I get a high five, please?
You can get a high five for the save.
A blue
That's the save.
That Black Queen save. You tried.
That
you tried.
was a save.
You
I'm
tried.
gonna give you that. I'll let you have that. That was a save.
We'll keep it London. Obviously, it's turning into a bit of love and hip hop. Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that, man.
Let's move on. Yeah.
I will say what it is and then keep it moving. The whole Heady and Tion thing and all of that. Yeah, we know there's bare beef. It's been going on for however long. Tottenham, Edmonton, etc., etc., etc. Nobody cares. I don't really want to see you lot fighting on a plane because that's dumb anyway. Because you're just gonna get shifted, and yeah, whatever. Like, I feel like there was someone on Twitter that said it that just cracked him up. It was that we don't care about any of this. The first one to release a freestyle and drop some plane fighting lyrics and it wins. So
Yes, that's right.
I think, like, make some fun out of it, innit? I want to hear something witty. Like
For me though, in terms of obviously the serious actual outcomes that actually happen in the streets aside, like I think it's important for them to remember that they are now, whether or not they want to accept it, role models.
yeah,
So
yeah, agreed.
that in itself, you not being able to have the presence of mind to understand, I'm about to embark on a 7-hour flight back to London after having, like, you lot are afforded, like, opportunities now, especially with the music thing, that people have not fought long and hard for, because, like I said, your talent is your talent and your talent will take you wherever you need to be. But in terms of, just look at the overall year and how things have panned out. You lot are in Dubai having the time of your life, and then to come back on a plane and then get caught up in some, like, as much as obviously there's certain violations that you shouldn't, or you feel that you can't let slide, there's a time and a place in it. And I feel with the younger generation, they don't understand that. And it's a bad message to send, because it's like, there's women, there's kids, there's families on that plane, innit? And if you don't have the like mental fortitude to kind of assess the overall that situation and take yourself and your emotions out of it for just 2 seconds, like, I fear for what will happen when you're in like a life and death situation. Because for me, that's not a life and death situation.
No,
Like, you lot could have sat on the plane, pretended like you never saw each other, landed at the airport, gone your separate ways, and then made funny tweets about it just the same way you did after.
Anyway, yeah.
So, to me, like, you could have just said, oh, them men ain't on nothing. They saw a man at the airport and they weren't on shit. Like, rather than doing up the theatrics, because realistically, you don't want to fight on a plane in Dubai. Like, I went to Dubai 5 years ago. The nigga was in jail until probably last summer because he decided to bump a taxi rank, in terms of, you got a queue for a taxi after a rave.
Yeah.
He wanted to jump the queue. That nigga got took straight to jail.
I won't play no games in Dubai, bro.
So,
Jump in the queue.
see, like, you would wait for a taxi.
Yeah.
He decided he was too, I don't know what, he was like inebriated.
You know what's so funny? I actually knew you were gonna say inebriated. I was gonna say it, and I thought, no, let me wait and see if
So he was like, no, fuck this. When he sat in the cab driver basically said to him, I'm not driving anywhere. Words were exchanged, and then they carted him off in the police car. But hey. So yeah, like, out there, it's not, although they're relaxing a lot of their Sharia laws and stuff, it's not somewhere that you want to get caught stranded, because
No,
the
definitely
UK, like, the
They
Home
got
Office,
no power.
zero power. So to me, it's not worth it, especially when you got so much on the line. It's not like you lot are just sending jabs across fucking North London anymore. You lot got like deals, endorsements, all of those things on the table, innit? And it's like, you look at the way that the world stopped in terms of music and touring, you lot haven't seen half of the cake that you can make.
Nope.
So why would you want to ruin that for like a half-handed throw of water bottle and right hand that didn't land? But hey, that's just me.
Point made.
Yeah.
I feel like we spent longer than that than we were gonna, but yeah. This is, you know, this is the problem with everything at the moment. Is that it was like bare gossip and beef and stuff. Like, like this week's music releases to me were just mad depressing. Like if I run you through 5 names, like does this sound like a good week of music to you? Yeah. Megan Thee Stallion, Rich the Kid and Young Boy NBA, St. John, Meek and French.
I mean,
some of it you might think, there's gonna be some bangers in there.
I personally, like, I don't know about you guys, but during lockdown, I've struggled to take in new music. I'm not sure what it is about this whole COVID situation, but I just haven't been able to, like, look forward to projects. So it's like I will hear them when I hear them, and it's like
I've been the opposite.
no, I haven't read
Especially with the whole cycling thing. Like, give me all the new music. I will happily be out of my house for an hour or two cycling around listening to music.
I guess it's different for me now because obviously I'm in the car all day and I'm not actually getting to listen to what I would like to listen to. It's just Magic Soul all day. Or I'll have a podcast in my ear. Yeah, but no one's actually like, I woke up on a Friday morning and think, yeah, I need to listen to this.
Really? I think there was 1 week where there was like a whole load of R&B releases, like Snow,
And I'm an
Summer.
R&B guy.
That was a good week. I woke up happy that day.
I was like, this week, I thought the first thing I was going to check out was the St. John album. And that was absolutely trash.
Yikes.
Not in a bad way, but obviously you've heard the whole... He's got the stimulus, the Rockefeller stimulus package. So they've been like, obviously promoting this album for quite some time.
They've been pushing him for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Because Biggs manages him. So
yeah. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but when it was a bit too alternative for me in terms of like, you know, The Weeknd has that really fine line between I want to go slit my wrists and like get me a drink, let's turn the fuck up. I didn't know which side of the fence this was, and it was like, first thing in the morning, this is not how I want to start my day. Although there was one song on there that I would recommend people.
Ransom.
Yeah, Ransom with Slack.
That was the only track on the album I liked.
Kalani.
Or even gave... I'm not going to say even gave the time of day, because I listened to all of it, but I was just like, this is shit, bro.
Yeah, it's called Ransom. What about you? What have you listened to?
I was going to say, do you not just go straight into albums, or do you kind of go random? Do you go top to bottom, or do you just press shuffle and say, all right, cool?
No, top to bottom. I listened to an album for the way it was sequenced.
Sequencing is important.
Like, I'll listen... What I generally do is I'll listen to an album, I'll pick out what catches me immediately, so I'll like them and have them to listen to separate, and then when I have more time, I'll run the album again, and then be like, okay, no, like, I definitely only like these tracks. And when I'm at that point, I just take those tracks and move on. Like, if it's something I like on the first listen, then I'll just spin the whole thing, like, constantly.
Mm-hmm. Just rinse it out. But, I mean, what have I been listening to? Got Bella, her new EP. Goldlink dropped a single, and it's not really sounding very Goldlinky.
Called it fucking best rapper in the world.
What?
And he's got a vocal effect on it as well, so you can't even hear him rapping properly.
That's what I'm saying. Zero clarity. You know, with Goldlink, you're used to that clarity. He bounces off the beat. That's not with this one.
He's not even a rapper anyway. He's a melody rapper.
Melody. Yeah.
Which works for him. It sounds sick more often than not.
I got time for him.
But don't call yourself the best fucking rapper in the world. Ever. In this life.
That's large. But... yeah, that's what I've been vibing to. And Scribs, he dropped his project. I tried Meg Thee Stallion's. It's not hitting. It's not doing it for me at the moment. So
it's not the right temperature.
It's not. No, it's not. I mean, she started off hot, shots fired, started off great. You're thinking, yeah, this is good. And then you keep going. You're like, I can't. It's noise. It just turns into noise.
I mean, obviously, Meg doesn't necessarily make music for me. Personally,
definitely not.
But I'm not adverse to music that makes things move. Was there much of that?
Yeah, there's one. Was it Body? But it's just
body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. That's what the chorus sounds like.
I'm getting super bass vibes, like just useless noise.
I mean, hopefully, like when outside is open and we get like.
We get to experience that.
More than 4 hours of daylight. Maybe I can appreciate some of what Megan has to offer at at a barbecue of some description?
At
No,
a barbecue. You don't play this at a barbecue.
no.
No.
Not here.
Picnic.
Nah, not here. Not a picnic. No. I don't think it's for us.
Maybe in Atlanta.
Facts.
Yeah. Houston.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got you. I've definitely got you. Yeah. What else have been? I took in the PA. How do you pronounce that?
I don't actually know.
PA Salu.
Yeah, Sally, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, J Hus Mark 2.
Very J Hus. It's unfortunate because
Thing is, I like his
fuck with the kid,
I like
man.
his energy.
Yeah.
I didn't finish listening to the album because, like I said to you earlier, I like his energy, but I don't think I could listen to a whole album of him. But his style, as much as I make the jokes about J Hus Mark 2 and stuff, it's similar, but it's also very different at the same time.
very versatile.
And yeah, it is very versatile, and he has a lot of presence. And that's something I rate. Like, what was the first track that he popped to? Frontline.
Frontline.
Like, that was catchy as fuck. And I was like, all right, cool, we might be on something. And then I think the second single I liked. And then that My Family track that dropped recently, I'm kind of on the fence with, but like, I get it. Yeah.
I expected him to dip more into the hardcore drill vibe. Like, in terms of, I'm not mad at someone deviating in terms of, he clearly has an idea of where he wants to go artistically, and I'm here for it because every week there's a new drill artist, and it's like refreshing to hear someone that can do that but opts not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not mad at it. Obviously, I'll give it another spin in the next couple days, see whether or not how I feel. But it's not a bad effort in terms of a first full length project. I'm not mad at it.
R&B wise, Kaleem Taylor dropped a very, very good project.
Obviously, I can't obviously
top
it's
to
mad for
bottom.
me here because I messaged him, and it was like, obviously, he said like, basically he was like just saying that obviously it's gonna be like a particular type of vibe.
Yeah.
And where I was at mentally at that time, I couldn't take it in. Like, it was just too much. It was way too much. So it's like the first day I listened to it, I was going through the works, and it was like, I'm gonna have to come back to this. But then a couple weeks later, obviously it's been out for best part of a month now.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very solid body of work. And shouts to him on selling out his headline show at the Jazz Cafe, which is due to take place in January, I believe.
Yeah, hopefully
yeah.
everything's back out open properly then, but we'll see. But no, I want to shout him out on that because, like, I think UK R&B, I think we have a lot of good artists and stuff, and I think we have people that, not that they stray, because I think UK R&B does have its own identity as much as people say otherwise. But I think there's like, I want to say this in like, not in a PC way, but I don't want to be rude either. I feel like there's a propensity to do two different things with UK R&B. One, sound American, which some artists do, and some of them, it's their bag, and they still sound sick, and their sound will suit them more in America, and I think some of them will blow in America. And two, I think there's this thing of like trying to make that sound between like R&B ballads and like Adele type ballads, which don't really fit for me. I feel like if you're gonna do R&B, like, do it, innit? Like, you can have one or two of them, but I feel like sometimes people just like go to this certain style or this certain sound, and it just doesn't hit for me. So hearing this project was refreshing for me because I didn't expect that type of production at all. Like, heard his stuff before, seen him perform live before. I was like, you know what? He's sick. He can really sing. Do I like everything he's put out? No, but I'm gonna check for his stuff when it drops. And I heard this, and I was like, okay, like, I was
you got
in
my
from the
attention.
very beginning.
Yeah, the first track dropped, and it was like, all right, cool. I know what I've signed up for something that I'm not ready for today. But no, like, in terms of me, in like, for instance, what you were saying about the whole R&B thing, I feel because the general trend of music has become so bass orientated and deep heavy drums, it's like there's not really a space for traditional R&B to flourish as much, in terms of we've got a bunch of talented R&B acts, and it's just like we just need. Like, I would love to do, like, you see, like, Lyricist Lounge back in the day where you just get a bunch of them in the studio and they just have, like, a mad jam session.
Yeah.
And whatever comes. And it's, like, just to kind of encapsulate all of those different flavours. Because you've got Emma V, you've got Jamelia Barry, you've got a bunch of artists. And it's
Morgan
like they
Monroe,
all
Carter
fuck with
Williams,
each other as well.
etc.
They all fuck with each other.
A lot of them have worked with each other.
Yeah.
Whether they've been writing, producing together, singing together, whatever. Like, you can, like, do 6 degrees of separation in that kind of UK R&B / neo soul scene, and they've all had some kind of connection at one point or another.
Yeah, and it's like, I would like to see how I said it to you a little while ago. I would like to see how that comes out, but obviously labels and technicalities probably won't allow for that. But yeah.
I don't know. I think it's more. I don't think it's necessarily labels, because a lot of these guys aren't necessarily even signed. Let alone signed to someone big that's gonna have mad politics going on. I think it's more like
Everyone
management.
wants to carve their own space.
Yeah, it's management and timescale, because you've got somebody like Emma V who, is up for collaborating with everybody and has said it from day one and has followed through on that. She has collaborated with loads of people, and I'm sure there's a lot more in the pipeline that we still haven't heard. But then you have other people that I don't even know of anyone to name, but might want to do their own journey more. Like you're saying, some people want to make their own mark, make their own imprint and stuff. So the whole collaboration thing might not happen as much. But I don't know. I just feel like with the climate, it's kind of tough right now. I feel like if you have the opportunity to make music and it's like you can just knock stuff out, then why not just do it and just put it out there?
Obviously, we have an R&B connoisseur here. Well, who would you say are your top 5 acts? Well, I wouldn't say to watch out for next year, but that you believe have something special to offer.
Oh my God. I mean, Kadeem Tyrell, Kemi Ade, Bella, Amia Brave. If you guys have heard Peng Black Girls by Any.
Yeah.
Right, Amia Brave done the vocals on that, and she's just released a song called Sweet Love, and it's her tone. I look out for tone more than anything. And good R&B for me feels warm, it feels loving, and it just feels rich. And that's the vibes that she gives me. So that's who I'm kind of looking out for. You know, Jerome Thomas, those type of guys working with producers like Blue Lab Beats, Romdeful. Those are on my list. But, you know, I get what you guys are saying, and you touched on it in that. I feel like there's 2 types of sound when you talk about R&B in the UK. You got the, I want to call it kind of commercially, it's got a trap beat in it, and it's not, like, you listen to it and you're like, but you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing. Like, I separated them into 2 because it's like, I feel like that's generally what people have tried to do over the however many years. But I do believe there's that third space where the artists you're talking about sit
very comfortable.
Like, they're all the people that we've mentioned outside of, so Emma V, Lila Gold, even Kadeem Tyrell, like his latest single was sick. Oof. Like amazing. All of these artists, I feel like sitting there, like yours, Ruby Francis, Morgan Monroe, like there's a lot of singers and writers, Etta Bond with Raph Riley, like their chemistry is just fucking mad. Like they all sit within that circle where it's like, okay, we all make good music, and you know we make good music, but we maybe just haven't popped as much as we should have by now. And I do feel like their time is coming for everyone. And obviously, people are happy with different levels of success or different things that they might deem as success. But I feel like there is that third space where it's like we have a hell of a shitload of good music that's coming out of it, and people just aren't
gravitating.
They're not gravitating to it. They're not respecting it. But the thing is, these same people that are making this music will sell out all of their shows. Yeah. Whenever they do have shows.
Look at the gig that you went to with Marie Dahlstrom. Was it you that went?
I did see Marie Dahlstrom, yeah, but I ended up leaving early because that venue was mad. Like,
oh, what?
No, it was a mad sweatbox. It was a pub basement, and it was in the summer, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm standing in here melting." Like,
she did another show, innit? You was meant to go to.
Yeah, there was another show, but I didn't go to it. Yeah. After the first experience.
Yeah, Ashes at.
I'm a gig goer. Like I, enjoy live music fully.
Have you missed that?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's a bit annoying though when you do get some shit venue, just in terms of being comfortable. So like that gig was one, and then there was an M&V gig in Jazz Servant Quarters in Dalston, which is like an old style jazz bar. But downstairs, the heat was mad. I'm talking people were in there just standing and dripping. Like it's a proper sweatbox. Stuff like that will like obviously put me off going to gigs. But in general, yeah, I'll go to as many gigs as possible. Like when things open back up, I'm hoping to get back out there. But this whole seated table gig thing, I don't know how I feel about that.
Not my style.
Children of Zeus did 6 shows in 2 days at the Jazz Cafe.
What?
Was it 4 or 6 shows? They were doing like 2 or 3 shows a day.
Yeah. For me, that kind of takes a huge part of why I would enjoy going to see live music, in terms of if I have to sit at a table and not be able to get up and vibe.
Yeah, and like they were talking like at one point in one of their gigs, like someone like stood up off the table and was like dancing, right? Not necessarily around other people, but the venue was like, no, sit back down, get back in your seat.
No fun for you.
Like we don't want to get closed down, blah blah. Blah. Like,
This is the new normal, though. Unfortunately, I don't see things going back to quote unquote how they used to be for quite a while.
I just want to rave, man. I just want one rave.
Man, I want a rave.
Give me a rave. Just one. I'll be quiet for like a year, man.
What was the last gig you guys went to though? Who was the last person you saw before
all this
lockdown?
happened?
Mine will probably have been. What year are we in? 2000.
Oh my god.
We're in 2020.
Still in 2020.
Stays 2020.
haven't been to any shows this year.
The last gig he was supposed to come to, he never turned up. We went to watch Tiana Major in 2019 in Hoxton.
I think I've been to a show since then.
She had a headline show there. He didn't come.
She's another one that's had a year and a half.
Yeah,
she's gone.
Oh my
she's
god.
Finally, she's gone.
Signed to Motown, she's gone.
She's gone. Like, I couldn't be more happy for her.
What's the last show that I went to?
Oh my god. Did none of you go to Sir?
Nah.
No.
Okay.
I think the last show I probably went to was probably a Children of Zoo show. I saw them like 6 or 7 times in the space of like 18
What is the
months.
last show that I went to?
I'm gonna assume it was them for me, because I was on a run and then I stopped.
When
for a while.
was Anderson .Paak the last show that I went to?
Probably.
It probably was.
Yeah, when we saw Anderson .Paak for free in Brixton Academy.
Yeah, it's probably the one I went to.
What was that, late last year?
No, that was like 2 years ago.
Oh my god, I thought we were talking 2019.
2, maybe 3 years ago. No, that's for him. For me, mine would have been last year.
Yeah, no. Do you know what it is? Yeah, I get like invites to go to shows, and sometimes I have like even like nice little hookups to go to places.
Look, when we went to see Tiana Major, we all got tickets. We all agreed to meet. On the way there, the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sitting at home with my feet up," and we was like, "What? What do you mean?" Like, "Oh, when you get there, let me know the vibe."
You weren't coming anyway.
Like, why not just say you're not coming, bro? Why are you chatting shit for?
All right, Ash, we've got like company.
That's why we got guests.
No, to be fair, like obviously earlier, like in my younger days, I was like a frequent concert goer. But the older I've got, like, I'm not even gonna just attribute it to like certain shows. Yeah, you want to enjoy them with the right type of company, if that makes sense. So, and sometimes that company isn't always. I've like been to a lot of. I'll probably say, I don't enjoy going to see rap artists anymore. It's just like, yeah, they don't really do it for me. So I'd like the last concert I went to that I fully enjoyed was Erykah Badu's 20th anniversary show of Baduizm.
Actually, no, I lied. That was probably the last gig I went to. Not that. I went to see Jhené Aiko and Erykah Badu at the O2. And they were bare late.
I was going to say, is that the one where Erykah was late?
Yeah, she was mad late. And, like, everything was closed by the time I left. Like, it was finished. I was wondering why people weren't. So I was like, they're still performing. And then when I got out, I was like, oh, yeah, it's a Sunday night at the O2 and trains stopped running and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
But I would like, obviously, concerts to come back. I did have tickets to that Lovers and Friends show in fucking LA.
You're going to fly to LA for that one?
I was going to fly
but
to
you
LA.
can't come to Tiana Major 9?
Do you know what it was? Yeah, I was going to be in LA anyway, so it just made sense.
Okay.
I wasn't flying to LA specifically to see Usher and all of the other acts on the very long lineup. But yeah, no, that's like for me now. If I'm gonna go, I want to get like because the ticket prices for concerts now like are like through the roof. So it's like I want bang for my buck in terms of if I can pay, for instance, 80 to 120 and I get to see a bunch of artists that I fuck with as opposed to paying £40 to see some upstart. No disrespect, respect the grind, respect the hustle.
Nah, it depends who you're seeing because I've only paid more than £25-30 for one artist.
Do you know coins
And
in this London are very hard to come across?
And I was left thoroughly disappointed. I paid 45 English
Not
pounds
doing
to
it.
see Thundercat.
Not
And
doing
I was
No.
so mad.
No.
Yeah. Like, I wanted to throw something at him. I wanted to be that guy in the crowd that was like, boo, boo, nigga, boo. Like,
Get off stage.
you know when it's like such a self-indulgent performance from somebody? He blew the amp and the speakers because he was having way too much fun with his songs. And then the main songs that I wanted to hear, he didn't even play anyway.
that's the
So it's like, wait, I've wasted my time coming to West London after work after a long day and you're just up here high as fuck, just
Spazzing
doing
out.
bare bass solos
Yeah.
and adding 5 minutes to every single song.
Yeah, no, coins are too. Especially think about it, yeah. Like you look at the whole concert experience, yeah. If you're going with a babes, that's 2 tickets, £90. Then you gotta have a little young wine to enjoy the show while you're. I'm like a concert.
But you're talking about a specific type of concert though, because
I'm not got like.
you're like, for example, I get what you're saying. So if you're seeing like an Erica Badu or somebody like that, you are gonna pay 40, 50, 60 quid a ticket.
If you're lucky,
Like Mary J. Blige, Faith
if you're
Evans, their
lucky, that's
tickets are
£90.
their tickets are mad expensive. I got an offer to see Maxo and Mary J. Blige, and it was like, oh, I'll do like 180 for the pair, but that's less than retail. And I was like, are you fucking mad? I'm not spending almost 200.
So what's the
to go
most
to a
you
concert.
spent on a ticket to a show?
The most.
She's scratching it. I know you've been to
no.
see Drake before, right?
Never.
Okay.
I spent 50 quid, 50 or 55 quid to see someone. I think it was either that or the Thundercat show. It was one of them, and that's why I was so mad because I was like, I
This is the
purposely
most
don't
I've
pay
paid.
this much for shows.
For a
Yeah,
festival,
actually, no.
I've paid
The
180.
most I paid, actually, I'm lying, was 60 quid to see D'Angelo,
That was
Oh, that would be worth
and
it.
the
that
Vanguard
was
show.
and that was still 100% worth it. Loads of people complained that he didn't do enough of Brown Sugar, but for me, that's top 3 live performances I've ever seen.
The most
I mean-
I've paid for a show was £70 for the Erica Badu show, but it was worth it.
Yeah, Erica's dope live.
And she stayed on stage for nearly an hour and a half, going on 2 hours, and brought out Common and Omar
Yeah.
and lots of other nice special guests. But
Talib Kweli was there that night as well, I think, because I saw Talib Kweli at
at another venue,
Soul Rebels in Camden,
yeah, and he jetted
and then
across
he ran over there as well.
Yeah, no, that's that. And even that was like, again, hotel for the night. So it's like the whole experience.
All right, big
Yours is a
baller.
whole event. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole event.
Yeah, but like for me, I'm not gonna like, obviously, unless I'm not going to concerts unless it's with the gang in it. So it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna like on a random Tuesday night. Like I'm not going to see no.
Last year, I spent too much on concerts because you had Joe, you had who else came last year? All the US R&B guys came last year.
They always come over here
Do you know what
because that's
the
where
funny
they can
thing
get
is?
their
Obviously,
bag.
obviously, like for you, you're getting to enjoy that now. Whereas like me, I was going to those shows in like 05, 06.
Okay.
So it's like for you, I fully understand. But where I've been, and like for me, the only artist that I would say that I would have loved to have seen that I haven't, they're no longer with us. So it's like in terms
that
of
MJ?
MJ, Prince, Whitney,
Oh, okay.
like those type of caliber of artists, and like the artists that I grew up on, 90% of them I've seen. So it's like my need to go and want to see live music isn't the same as it was maybe 10, 15 years ago. And again, like I said, the price of these tickets are not helpful. But yeah, there's a
I didn't
fine
even
line.
get into that debate with you because of how you spend your money sometimes anyway.
What?
All I'm saying is spending money on live events that you're going to remember forever
Worth
is
it.
worthwhile.
Every time.
I
Do you know how
mean,
many people I've seen live in the last 3 years.
And
I
you're
was
prolific.
I was going to at least 1 or 2 gigs a month, every month for however long.
Couldn't do it.
What?
I like KFC too much. I'm sorry, but yeah.
KFC live music experience.
You gotta eat to live.
Alright, cool. Enough said.
Ash shakes his head in disgust. But yeah,
I think the most I've ever spent on a ticket was for Beyonce. I won't say how much, but looking back, it was stupid.
was it worth it?
Oh, it was well worth it. I was close.
I've seen Beyonce. I didn't pay. I've seen Beyonce twice.
Hackney Weekend, though, innit? Was she there?
And
Or
I
was
saw her Party in the Park. This was before Beyonce was even a solo act, to be fair.
it? Nah, Beyonce,
Seen her 3 times, I'm lying. I saw her at Urban Music Festival 2004.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's when Crazy in Love had just...
for all her lackluster music that she puts out at times.
Great performer.
She is an amazing performer. I can't say shit about her.
No. She puts her foot in even the whole stage.
The whole
visuals.
structure, the setup, the sound, like everything. Like, it's wild. 100% I say that.
If you could pick one artist, like one night live, dead or alive, who would it be?
Jesus Christ, that's a hard question.
I know I hate you.
MJ straight.
Do you know what it
For
is?
me.
Yeah, that's just like for me the default answer.
It is the default.
But I'm
answer.
not
That's
gonna
why I
lie,
don't
yeah.
really
I
wanna
would
You don't
say
wanna
it.
say that, you're
for me,
'Cause
just to be
default answer.
different, I would like to see the original Temptations live.
That was
one
next
night.
on my
Oh,
list.
okay, you're getting there. Okay.
Yeah, because all of them are dead. Fucking hell.
Otis is the only one left.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Nobody come and see you, Otis.
Without David Ruffin, the Temptations are nothing.
Yeah, no, I would like to see the original Temptations, and probably Marvin Gaye. That would be my 2.
Yeah. Like, I say, like, I would have loved to see, like, Smokey Robinson in his prime, because this shit he's doing as an old artist, I don't want to see. That gangbanging song, one.
Sorry.
Have you not heard this?
What?
Ash, pull it up. Pull it up.
Not Smokey Robinson.
Smokey,
What?
Smokey out here whacking, yo. And you know, Smokey ain't even like aged much, so it's just a mad optic.
I still don't know if this is a skit. So, for context, look, he's got his chucks on a crease.
Who forced him to wear that hoodie?
Gang banging. This is like an after school special. Gang banging.
This ain't it. This ain't it.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Smokey penned some of the most sensational.
Who reduced him to this shit, man?
I'm not here for that, man.
I need a word with whoever was involved in that.
No, that's terrible.
And that came out in July.
It's been a long year.
That's definitely after school special.
Like, and that was the other thing I would say. With him being old, there's footage of him doing a live show trying to be sexy, and it is fucking hilarious. He looks like he can just about reach his knees. Like, and he's doing this little jump round in a circle. And I'm like, bro, it's cool. Just sit
It's not for you, man.
Like, just, you know.
For me, like
It's not for everyone.
It's like there's a we always have this debate about like artists that are able to transition like into post popularity well, and obviously touring's a big part of that. But obviously during lockdown, we've kind of had to come a lot more familiar with this whole live versus. Do you think after obviously outside opens up properly, we're gonna like be forced to embrace a lot more of this in like a live capacity?
No, I think you can't replace that experience of seeing your favorite artist in front of you and then getting familiar with them, knowing their tour dates, being like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go see you in this city and in that city, and that excitement of having them there. Like for me personally, this whole live thing where they're performing in their house, it was still a bit disconnected for me. So I just didn't get to grips with some artists and their come up through things like this. So nah, I think
So like for instance, not even like the older artists that like maybe not as willing to go out and do a 20 city tour, but just as like the Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle type vibes. I think that would be something that you can kind of package and
Yeah, definitely.
think
I think
they're
if depending on how this
like
goes
a nice auditorium,
over the next year or so, like
some nice
'cause
lighting.
I feel like the versus battles have been like a real highlight of
Oh yeah, 100%.
COVID, like for multiple reasons. Some really good, some not
The
so
memes during the Teddy rally were
Oh my
some of the
God.
hardest laughs
oh my god,
I've had
oh my god.
in a very, very long time.
good. Do you know what? Just to touch on that, since we're doing that topic, so to make it clear, right? They both may talk all this humble shit or whatever. Teddy Riley and Babyface are conceited assholes. Like real cantankerous old assholes. Like
In the
when-
nicest possible
when
way.
Babyface got out his guitar, Teddy Riley's eyes. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. Man's disappeared off the street for half an hour to get his keyboard connected. And then they did
He was
separate
like, you ain't
lives.
styling on me, nigga.
You're gonna get these keys.
And it's like, obviously, remember, he had the backup dancer.
Oh
the
my
backup
God.
dancer was killing me, man. Like, his energy, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I would like to
Breon,
see what he
his
has
name
for
was.
breakfast. I need that. I'm gonna need that.
Yeah, that first one was a mess because Teddy wanted to promote his platform, and then the second one was less of a mess, but Teddy's Wi-Fi was moving brazy. Like,
Well,
it
I'm
just-
glad they've, like I said, they've obviously moved it towards, like, we meet up,
Yeah,
we
in
make this an
person.
event.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it. Like,
I like the concept. I feel like there's more to come from it, and it can get better. And it's giving me so many belly laughs, like Fab and Kiss. Yeah, like. Like when things open up again, I'm getting Jada drunk, bro. Like,
yeah, I
because
need
Oh
to
my
that
God.
yeah was a shit show from Fab. Because the thing is, yeah, Fab's mad corny and super fruity and all these other diss words you can throw at him.
But Fab was meant to be the guy.
Fab can rap. Fab can rap very well, in fact. But he does so much corny R&B type shit with his rap. And that's not that R&B is corny, but what he's doing musically is very, very corny. And it's like, Fab also has street shit. So for me, I assumed naturally that Fab was going to win purely out of popularity. And Kiss was like, no,
He came
I'm
to
giving
step
with all
forward.
my street shit, and then
Step-
I'm going to give you a couple R&B joints too. And then I know you've already lost, and I'm going to make the DJs play the Freestyle Friday shit, where I know mine was
Mine's
better than yours.
yours, yeah. It was a sad night, man. Like for me, yeah, as much as I rate Kiss, like I've had my
Gripes with
periods
Kiss
of
too.
time where like I just couldn't fuck with Jada Kiss.
No,
for
there
love
was a
nor
good
money.
2-3 year period
Yeah, I
where
just
Kiss
wanted
was
like
on
he
some
wasn't
bullshit,
hitting
man.
for me, and it's like Fab was during that period consistent Soul Tape 1, Soul Tape 2,
Yeah,
Soul
yeah,
Tape
yeah,
3, and it's like now Fab's kind of like reached that. Not even like he's taken a nosedive musically, and it's like I've been waiting for Los Soul's Way 2 for like over a
And
decade
we're supposed
now.
to get Young OG 2 as well, which is all supposed to be R&B samples.
Yeah, it's like I don't know where like how like it's not that it's ruining my his placing because he was never like a top 10 like rap
No.
artist for me, but it's just like everything he's doing now is not adding to the legacy, it's taking away from it, which is sad to say, but like I don't want to like look forward or not look forward to seeing what you post on Instagram. I want to look forward to your next.
I had to unfollow Fab.
After that versus.
I'm sick of him. Nah, it was all the outfits, man. The beginning of the end was the anklet. That was the beginning of the end for me following Fab on any form of social media. Like, and since then it's just got worse and worse. Like somebody sent me a picture of Fab the other day, and you know what his outfit looked like? Do you remember Tron?
Yeah.
and they've got the light suits.
light suits,
That's what it
yeah.
looked like he was wearing. I was like, nah. This
The
guy's a
funniest
fucking
thing is, yeah,
embarrassment.
like if you actually like, I still follow him. Like, he'll do like unboxing of the most awkwardly coloured like outfits or train. Like he'll get sent packages. And
yeah,
you'll
it's
see him
something wild.
opening
but
the
it all
box, and
matches.
he'll be like laying them out, and it's like. So you actually think that this is?
You actually think this is good. You're not being forced
my
to wear
God.
this. You actually think this is good. You think you're doing something.
But yeah, obviously we're coming to like the end of 2020, and it's been what we would like to call a very interesting year. What have been your standout moments musically?
All of the versus battles have been standout moments, but album wise, there's actually been a lot. It's probably going to take me a minute to go through all of them.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we did skip past something that I know you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no, I was going to save it where I was going to go on like a little 5-minute rant about it.
Yeah.
Just to make sure people understand what I'm talking about.
Cool.
Griselda this year,
Hey.
I've really liked everything that they've dropped, apart from Armani Caesar's album, and Boldy James' album was a bit. He's just mad
I
boring.
don't like Boldy James.
He's mad boring, but Alchemist Productions saved.
He's what we would like to call one of those super lyrical underground. He's not even super.
He's not
just
super
boring.
lyrical. Do you know,
Oh.
he's very monotone.
Boring.
Very, very, very
Boring,
monotone.
boring,
Like,
boring
he brings,
James
He brings
is what they should
no
call him.
energy to.
I played
anything
Boldy
he's on.
James in the car on the way off the what tape was it with?
The Price
West
of Tea in
Side.
China. Oh, the one with Westside.
Yeah, and my mum was like, "Who is this?" I was like, "His name's Boldy James." My mum was like, "He's just so lifeless." I was
He
like,
is lifeless.
"Oh, like that." Like I can't describe it in any other. And like he's not. The worst thing about it, he's not rapping over like shit. Like he's rapping over like what we would like to
For the
call
most part,
exquisite
top-tier
beats.
productions, yeah.
And it's like you add no flavor, no sauce, no. And I don't like shitting on rappers, but yeah, he's a snooze fest. Sorry.
Yeah, Griselda. Benny the Butcher drops Burden of Proof, which for me was just
Phenomenal.
a Rockefeller peak album. Like, I've seen so many people trash it. Oh, Hit Boy shit. Blah, 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 blah. As far as I'm concerned, unless you're one of those people that doesn't want to hear anything nostalgic, which is fine, by the way. If you don't want to hear that, then cool. Like, you don't need to, whatever, innit? But there's no way of somebody that, if you were a fan of that era of music, that you can't like
Appreciate
this
it.
album. And the thing is, a lot of people, a lot of even some hip hop people that I respect are like, yeah, but I wanted something harder or whatever. Like, the intro to Burden of Proof was like a Hove intro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got zero complaints about that album, except I think there was one song I didn't like, maybe. Or maybe that was Conway's album. Oh no, I could have done without Lil Wayne and Big Sean on Timeless, because
like
Benny smoked the fuck out of both of them.
I like it. I like it a lot.
No, I like the single. I still really like the song, but Benny smoked both of them.
Yeah, he did.
How does he make Lil Wayne and Big Sean sound like they can't flow on beat?
But the funniest thing is their verses weren't even bad. It's just he was way above. Like,
way above.
them.
But yeah, Benny, Conway, Westside, I liked all the shit they dropped.
We're probably speaking a foreign language to you. Right?
Straight
I
over
know,
my head.
That's why I'm trying to just get it out of the way.
Now go off.
Who else? There's a guy called Cartoons who's a producer primarily. He put an album out that was great. That was one of my favorite albums. I'll say a couple more before I pass it over. Terrace Martin, Robert Glasper, and Ninth Wonder did a group
Soulful claps, clicks.
did a group called Dinner Party, and they released 2 projects. They released the first one, Dinner Party, and then they released the remix version of Dinner Party Dessert, and that version is sick. Like, I've got a couple of tracks on there that I've just had on repeat since they dropped. Other than that, who else did I really like? I liked Action Bronson's album.
Wasn't for me.
Yeah, and that's cool. Like, Action Bronson is one of those guys, yeah, that... Who's that always said it? Rob Percy always says it, yeah. That he's like... I think he's like the most pointless rapper ever.
Oh.
And I was like, do you know what?
He has a
I'm
point.
not gonna disagree with you, but I like his music. I can't tell you what he offers or what he brings, but I like it. Like,
It's very descriptive.
yeah, I don't know. I've got more, but you guys can run.
Ladies.
I mean, this is gonna be pure R&B. I
That's
don't have
fine.
any
That's
like
perfectly
We're
rap.
fine.
R&B lovers, so
I bet PJ Morton
I'm
did the
surprised
piano
Ash
album.
didn't mention that.
The PJ Morton one.
Didn't really listen to
Amazing.
it too tough, you know.
Did you not?
It's been one of, you know, like you have artists here where their name's there and it's like, you know, I need to go and finish listening to what they have.
Yeah.
I know PJ Morton's dope, but I just haven't done it. Like, I just haven't delved in properly. Like,
Okay.
I've
It's
got
not
no
personal.
reason or excuse or nothing. Like, I just haven't delved in properly yet.
It's beautiful. A beautiful body of work. I'm such a fangirl for Tiana Major 9 and At Sixes and Sevens
The
was
album's fucking hard, man.
stellar.
Yeah, she's
Just-
dope. It was no surprise to me that she.
Do you know what the
quality.
funniest thing is? Yeah, I was like, after her previous project, I wasn't expecting. Like, I was a bit skeptical.
You weren't
I was
sure
like,
where she was gonna
Yeah,
go,
I wasn't
innit?
sure what lane she was gonna jump in, because I know she has an ability to do the earthy stuff. Yeah, and like obviously the Earth Gang.
Earthy stuff.
Yeah,
So I was like,
like the Earth Gang type vibes, isn't it? And it's
Okay.
like that's not really where I wanted it, and I'm glad she kind of stuck to her own vibe with the project. But
Facts. Yeah. So her, Jack James had Overseas, which I think is gonna launch him very, very far. Who else that we haven't really mentioned that's been good this year?
I know what R&B album I've been banging out constantly.
Go off. I probably need to search my phone, my Spotify for this.
I don't know. It probably speaks to my year in a lot of ways. Sean Stockman's album has been on constant.
Yeah, do you know what? When you were talking about it, I went and checked it and I was like,
I don't
maybe-
know what
I
it
think,
is about.
I think, like you're saying, like the kind of mood and the vibe you're in and all
Yeah.
of that rolls into it. I listened and I was just kind of, yeah, it's cool, but
Do you know, it's easy listening in terms of like, for me, I don't necessarily like where I am. It's like I don't want an album that's gonna take me to a million places. It's like how I'm consuming music at the moment kind of lends to the fact that I want to be able to just put you in and not necessarily have to flick through, just let it run from top to bottom. And it was like where I needed to be at that specific time. And I enjoy it, and I've been going back to it quite regularly. Is it Jay Howell? 1 second.
yeah, I think it is Jay Howe that you're talking about.
I've been
I'm sure you posted one of his songs before.
Yeah, I've been rinsing him as well. Sorry. Been rinsing it. Yeah, he had an album the back end of 2019 called Red Room, but he's released like quite a few singles this year, and he had an acoustic version of the Red Room, which again, for someone of his vocal abilities, was very, very dope to listen to. On a rap tip, I'm not gonna lie, Burden the Proof is probably my album of the year.
Yeah, same.
Freddie Gibbs and Madlib, probably a close second.
Yeah, I liked that. Was that this year or was that last year?
That might have been last year.
I
but
feel like
I've
that
been
was last year.
banging it.
Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist was this year.
Yeah, Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist.
Alfredo, yeah, that was
Alfredo.
this year.
Sorry, I cut across you.
No, you're all good. I was literally just gonna say I was gonna move to a bit of Afro beats because for me, Made in Lagos was fabulous.
You're speaking of foreign language.
Is
to
that
me.
nah? You know, like
To be fair, like in terms of Afro beats, I've never really dug into projects. But what I've heard from the Burner album and the Wizkid album, I'm not mad at.
I didn't like Burner's album at all.
At
I've been
all, at
told
all?
no. I don't like his sound. I just don't like nothing about him.
I'm crying.
I just don't. So you know when someone just doesn't resonate with you, and he's one of those people for me. Wizkid, I know his project's supposed to be good, but I haven't actually listened to it. Like I said, it's not something that style of music I'm never ever gonna run to. But I guarantee you, there's stuff that I've heard that I like, and I'm like, oh, actually, when I
Because when
find
I've
out
heard,
afterwards
like
that
for
was
me,
Wizkid or
even when
someone
I hear
else.
Burner on like features with other people, he always smokes it for me. And it's like I don't know why I've just not gone and listened to even the project before this, that was everyone was ranting and raving.
African Giant. You've never actually listened to African Giant?
I didn't like it either. So I don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Like, as in you knowing your taste, I don't think you're missing out on it.
I don't know. Like, it's a weird one for me because, like I said, I'm normally that guy that listens to everything. Like, I have a very broad palette when it comes to music.
I personally don't think you'd like it. But yes, you do have a broad palette.
Like, I listen to, you know, the new rapper that no one's heard before, that no one cares about. Like, I've heard them, and I can tell whether or not they're gonna make it to the next the next level.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, like, even this year with like all of the babies and the little babies and
I can't.
yeah, it's been difficult. It's been a shit show of it. Like,
That's what I was gonna say. For me, that like the little babies, the Gunna, I can't. For me, that's just noise, pure noise that sounds the same.
With what's the one? I can't remember. The box guy.
Roddy Ricch.
Roddy Ricch.
The box guy.
Do you know what? I don't really like any of them particularly, but like Gunna, for example, is on Wale's new single, and I really like the single, and I like what Gunna did on it too. But I don't check for none of that really. I'll listen to, like, when people proper hype it up, I'll wait, and then I'll actually go and check it, and then be like, yeah, this still ain't for me. Like, I don't like Future. I don't.
Oh God, no.
All of that style of music to me is just low quality music.
It's one level.
It's like
very
there's
wonderful.
every now and again there's a song that I'm like, I actually know.
All right, here's what I'm
going
gonna say in response to that. For every peak of the mountain, you need a valley. Future is the valley to the peak.
That's nice.
Huh? It's the truth. You can't, like, for me, it's not, like you said, it's low quality of music, but it has its place.
It has a place and it works for a lot
I
of people,
appreciate-
and I ain't mad at it. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I feel like it's like across the board, like genuinely just, there's nothing about it that's like, for me, that's like, oh, okay, this is really good, or this is high quality, or this has something special about it.
But you
It has
also
a place,
have to take
it has a
into
mood,
consideration
it has a
that
vibe, and
we're no longer
what I
the
mean?
primary focus point of artists when they're making their music. We're not who they're targeting anymore.
yeah, but it depends on who the artists are. I agree with you in the sense of like a popular music slang, yeah, and trap and drill and trap
It's
R&B
becoming,
and
like,
etc.
you know-
etc. But
All right. I'm 33. I didn't ever feel there would be a point where I began, and I like kind of like I said, I do my Googles. I'm beginning to get to that point where I'm feeling as if I'm becoming somewhat out of touch.
Is that because of the amount, like the quantity of artists coming out?
It's
or?
really, really difficult to stay on top of the amount of, like, because everyone has mixtapes and videos on YouTube with 1,000 million streams, and it's like, I just don't have the time to invest into, like, niggas that I don't know. Not in I don't want to come across as ignorant, but it's like every week there's like a new popping trend or sound, or it's not even a sound, it's just like, I just don't care.
So does that speak to the quality of the stuff that's coming out then? Because
But the funniest thing is about it, I will say that, but then the quality will end up reaching me eventually.
Yep.
So it's like, I'm still attached, I'm just not at the source anymore. So it's like before, like maybe 5 years ago, I would spend the majority of my time on SoundCloud looking for new artists. Whereas now it's just like, if you're good, you'll find me. Whereas before, I'd be like, who is that? And who did they work with? And like, what's next? And nah, I just don't have the time.
so no one's grabbing you anymore. None of these artists are just...
R&B is kind of like my staple, innit? And a lot of the time, if I can't find new R&B, I'll just dip back in the old playlists and just rock out.
on the R&B note, like, although he's still hit and miss, he's one of my more favourite R&B artists that put out shitloads of materials. Eric Bellinger, he's put out like 5 singles in the last 6 months or something like that. And they're all hard. I actually hope when he gives us another project that is hopefully not like another 30-song project or something, that it's actually just of...
Seeing as I'm in a room with R&B
Consistent quality.
aficionados, where the fuck is LA? Or El Hay or whatever you want to call him?
working
goodness.
on his album and being depressive and watching anime. That's
Fab.
where he's at.
I have another
He
question.
dropped a single earlier this year, if I remember correctly.
Where is is Belly?
I couldn't answer that question for you. I don't have one for you there.
So
No answer here.
I might have to go and do more Googles because I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I was expecting to hear something because it's been a while since he's put out music. But yeah,
I've got some other highlights before I go on my rant.
go ahead.
A single for me that just hit for me, I think, because of the subject matter and it's catchy as fuck. Anderson .Paak, Lockdown.
Oh, that
I
was
feel
good.
like that because
We
of.
skipped over your guy as well.
I feel like who's my guy? Which one?
Buster.
Oh, Buster. Nah,
Busta,
but
man.
because Buster's album was just cool to me. That's why. Like it was. It's worth hearing because it's like I think for somebody that hasn't put an album out for 11 years, it's a decent listen. And I like Buster anyway. If Buster puts something out, I'm going to listen to it. And I like the fact that he went back to the same sound that he had for Extinction Level Event 1. He went back to Knots. I would have liked to hear more DJ Scratch. Scratch has only got 1 or 2 joints in there. The premiere joint was great. Most of the Knots stuff was pretty good. It was a solid effort, but I think when I first listened to it, I was like, yeah, this is really, really good. And then when I listened to it the second time, I was like, it's not quite as good as I thought it was, but it's still a
That
good
was
album.
my overwhelming thought in terms of the first time I listened to it. I ran through it quickly. I was like, yeah, this is dope. And then I went back to it and was like, yeah, maybe the nostalgia was a bit.
Yeah, I definitely felt that when I listened to it again, like multiple times. But yeah, Anderson .Paak's Lockdown, I think, is just a dope single. The remix is dope as well. And it's just, I think after doing Jules with Timbaland with the bullshit voice effects in it and that, hearing Lockdown again, it's like, okay, this song is like definitely one of the best songs that came out this year. And I think it's something that snuck under the radar to an extent.
It did.
Oh, facts.
Sinead Harnett has had a couple of singles recently that have been dope. Can't wait for her album to come out. She's working on that album now. She's somebody else I'm going to chase up for an interview again.
What do you think it is with her that is stopping her connecting?
I don't think there's anything stopping her connecting. The only reason I say I don't think there's anything stopping her connecting is because she fits in this space between like R&B and pop, and she will go on tour with Pete Tong and Rudimental and shit, but then she gives us like real R&B. But then she's out there enough to be. She's been in America for months, like working on an album, and it's like, okay, so you're obviously not like going broke trying to record your album or anything. You have some kind of backing or whatever, and when she drops stuff, people check for it. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I just think she's between the two worlds. Because if you look back to, I don't know, however many years ago, what's his name, man? It's Nick something, another rapper from Forest Gate, raps with Barney and all of that.
I know who you're talking about. Not Brewer.
It is Nick Brewer, yeah. When Nick Brewer was signed and he put out a pop single, she did the hook on it, and I was like, this shit's trash. Like, this is proper nasty packaged pop shit. But then, obviously, over the years, she's found her own lane and actually put out what she wants to put out. But, yeah, I think she's in her space. I don't think she, like... I'm sure she might say, like, I could do with more album sales or more shows or whatever. But I feel like she's in quite a good space.
Cleo Soul's album was a good
Cleo
listen.
Soul's album was dope.
Yeah.
That was very, very dope. Who else for me? Steve Arrington, who a lot of people may not know, and I'm going to introduce you to now. Steve Arrington was the lead singer of Slave, a soul/R&B group from like... Slave was like 80s. And their 2 main singles have been sampled to fuck over the years. And he put out an album, so I'm getting into my nerd bag now, on Stones Throw Records, which meant that he worked with Knowledge and people like that in terms of production. So it's a very up-to-date sounding album, and it's dope. Someone else who, I don't know, I don't really feel like I should be promoting their stuff right now for one reason or another, but Life, who's a West London rapper.
Wow.
He's dope. He's super dope. Like, he just makes sick music.
Yeah.
Like, I can't
Knock him.
deny it. Like, he makes very, very good music, and I'm waiting for his stuff to come out.
Friend of the show.
Another couple guys that I want to mention and their projects. There's a guy called Bob Rock who I got put onto randomly like last month. He's got an album called A Piece of Mind, and it's like soul pain rap. Like that's the only way I can describe it. Like top to bottom. I sent it to these guys, but I bet you they didn't listen to it.
Don't do that. Again, we've got company. Ash.
Did you know?
Bear in mind, I've made a real recommendation on this one as well, you know. Like, I even gave them the zip before the thing was on streaming.
Do you know what the
services.
funny thing about it is? Yeah, I've got the zip on my computer, but I just
Oh my
haven't
God.
double clicked.
Yeah, and there's another guy called, I don't even know how you pronounce it. I don't know if it's like Obechi or Ozbechi. He's done an album, one of my favourite producers at the moment, Eric G. He's been about for years. And he's actually, that will bring me on to the last two things I mentioned so we can wrap it up. During the whole COVID thing, he's been selling beat tapes, but literally like hundreds of beats. I've probably bought for a decent price as well because I've hustled them. I've seen other people get quoted mad prices and I was like, no.
So you've been buying beat tapes?
I've been buying beat tapes. I've probably bought like, and there's somebody else, another producer that I know that we both like him, innit? So we split the tape cost. Because he was like, oh, he quoted me $50. And I was like, no, I told him £30. And he's like, come, split that.
I hope Eric G isn't listening.
Nah, it's cool, bro. I've honestly, no exaggeration, I've got about 500 beats off him this year.
Jesus Christ.
He's put out 4 installments of one series, and which was like 100 beats, 86 beats, 50 beats, or whatever. And yeah, his stuff's dope. So I just felt like with the whole COVID thing, he's done this album with this guy, put it out, album's dope. They've got the second one ready already. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to put it out, fuck it. I was like, well, in this climate, why not? Like, I know for you, for example, you're saying you haven't been listening to music because you've been driving more and working and stuff, where somebody like me who's working, I will listen to music while I'm working. Like, I have that option. So him and Lyric Jones is a female rapper, and she's dope, first of all, anyway, but she fits like a certain tone, and Fonte executive produced her album, and it just sounds very, very cohesive. So depending on where you know Fonte from, you might know him from Little Brother for the rap side, or you might know him from Foreign Exchange for the singing side.
They had a project over there, innit?
Depending on who you ask. No, Nicolay dropped something
Nicolay.
himself. He dropped a new project, I think, but not Foreign Exchange. And yeah, I think that was it in terms of the other stuff that dropped. But now is the point that I really wanted to talk about.
Drum roll, please.
I'm sorry because it's not R&B related at all.
No, we're good.
Like, but rapper of the year for me was neck and neck for a period of time.
It was close. I'm not gonna say that it. He stole it.
You haven't listened to the newest one. The newest one I think is going to push you over the edge. But there's been 4 or 5 claims for the throne this year, I think, in terms of how well people are rapping. You've got Benny the Butcher, like without a doubt. Ransom. Conway. Freddie Gibbs. And I'd still tag in Rest 5'9", even though he was like towards the back end of 2019 and early 2020. I think those are the guys that have been rapping at the highest level over the last year or so.
Consistently as well.
Yeah, and consistently, whether it's a feature, whether it's their own shit, whatever, like just been bodying everything. So Ransom is obviously somebody that we know of from school times. So you've got A-Team with Ransom and Hitchcock. You've got all the Desert Storm, DJ Clue stuff, all the mixtapes over the years. And then in like the last 5 years, it's like he had a little mini resurgence of whether it's he fell back in love with music or people started picking back up on it.
I think it was more to do with obviously the producer-driven albums. Like it kind of kick-started it. So he had the project with...
He had Static
Selector. And then from there, he's just kind of like... Because like I said, Ransom's always been a rapper that I fucked with heavy. Like Pain and Glory 1 and 2, Street Cinema. So like he's given us music consistently over the years. But in terms of like what you would associate Ransom with, early Ransom compared to what you're talking and how you're talking about him now, it's not worlds apart because he can always hold his own, but he's put himself into that final frontier. Like, for me to sit here, I would never have, like, it beyond thought of, like, sitting here and putting Ransom in the same conversation as Rest the 5'9". To me, bonkers.
Yeah.
But if you listen to his recent output, it's difficult to say he doesn't deserve a seat at that table, innit?
Yeah, in fact, I just looked up when for me, it started. It would have been about 2013, 2014. He dropped Pain and Glory, the album. So he had Pain and Glory, the mixtapes, and then he dropped a proper album. And then from that point, he's got Pain and Glory, the album. I think there was one album that was Best Rapper Alive.
Words.
Yeah, that's the hit for me off there. History of Violence was another good project. There was one that I think was called 5%, something along those lines. That was dope too. And then this year, he's put out 4 projects with someone called Nicholas Craven, a producer from Canada. And when it first came out, it was like this whole director's cut scene, crime scene type vibe to it. And the first one dropped, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, this is dope. Ransom's rapping very, very well. The beats are suiting him. And then the second one dropped, and I was like, all right, this one's better than the first one. So, like, even more so. And for me, the beats improved as well. Because a lot of it is, like, horror themed and
very graphic.
Mix of, like, movie samples and soul samples and stuff. And then director's cut scene 3 drops. And I was like, shit, to me, this is even better than 1 and 2 already. And at this point, you've already got 1,000,001 quotables throughout the whole year. And you've stayed at this high level consistently through. And then now they just dropped the deleted scenes one, which is part 4, I believe, and I think there might even be more on the way, which is even better than everything else to me. Like, it's actually ridiculous to try and keep up with what he's saying and what he's doing now. And it's like, this is the first time I've probably seen him engage with people so much on social media as well. And it's like, he said it straight, like, yeah, I've been the best rapper this year. Everyone should feel that way anyway, but he's like, I am the best rapper, like, right now.
2020's man.
And I can't deny him. The stuff he's doing. I urge everybody that listens to rap music and likes pain or soul in their rap and all that kind of stuff to go and listen to it. Because the stuff he's doing, nobody else is doing. Like, Burden of Proof is still probably, like, my album of the year. But in terms of how well somebody's rap, like Ransom just nicks it from Benny for me. And yeah, I think there's only more to come. And also, shouts to Ransom, because I asked him earlier if he would come on our show. And he said yes. So, yeah. You're welcome, by the way, guys. You're welcome.
We got a building link, you know.
So,
link and build.
Yeah, hopefully we get a little Zoom call in with Ransom and talk about the stuff he's been doing, because... Like, I made a joke about it when he was talking about, like, how he doesn't sleep and all of this mad stuff, like genius hours and that. And I posted the MJ meme from The Last Dance, innit? It was like, oh, I took it personal. And he was like, no, like, that's exactly how I think. And it just made me realise that, to be performing at such a high level, whether you're on the court or in music or whatever, I feel like you've got to be, like, a little bit of a psychopath.
No, like, it's proper, like, it's magic, because they say your best... That you look at creatives, it's like your best work comes from the most obscure places, or like when we would be resting, their brains are
like 2-3 a.m.
Yeah,
like all of a sudden these ideas are sparking. And also something with Ransom is always that the whole Joe Budden thing, like for the people that have listened to Ransom and stuff, know that there was a huge beef with them for however long. So to see them both kind of go full circle this many years later, of Joe Budden obviously being a huge podcaster, and then Ransom having...
We was so close to having an episode where we didn't mention Joe Budden.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't even listen to the podcast anymore. Not really.
You don't fuck with it?
I haven't. I think I've listened to like 1 episode in like 6 months.
Oh wow.
I want to listen back to it now because they've got more guests and stuff, and they've gone back to their actual independent thing. But yeah, just for me as a fan of music and also of them, to see them go full circle, and Ransom in 2020 having probably the best year in rap he's ever had, like, is insane to me.
It's insane.
Like
I said, it's mad because, like I said, if you would have said this to me in 2006 when I was bumping Pain and Glory 1, that it would have been incomprehensible. But here we are. The world is a strange place. If anything, 2020 has taught us that, like, nothing.
2020.
Nothing is beyond the realms of comprehension. That's what it's taught me.
Yeah.
I'm taking one day at a time. So like it's like even like for instance, this week alone we've had
Lord.
Monday we had what did we have on Monday? Someone was wilding on Monday.
I don't even remember.
It was Trillery that was wilding on Monday.
We've had Trillery and Nole in the same week. We've had Heady and Tion in the same week. We've had Dutch today.
Notes.
Not gonna say nothing about
Notes.
that.
You
We've had
forgot notes.
Notes.
Yeah, but like in comparison, it's like
No, but like it's just like
there's just
everywhere
bare shit just going
everywhere
on.
you
Like.
look, there's some fuckery popping off, and it's like if it's not like Megan and Tory, it's this person. Why can't we just all get along? Like, that's life's very short.
Indeed.
Is ultimately what we should cherish every day we have. But yeah, we've kind of come to the end of the show. We do have a little segment that we do have, obviously, the breaks playlist.
I wasn't even do that. Yeah, do you know what? That playlist needs to be updated. I haven't updated it in months.
But
I'm gonna tell you my song to put in there now. Ransom and Ransom again. Eyes Wide Shut. Off of Deleted Scenes that dropped this week. That I like the whole project anyway, but that is my favorite right now. Like there's so many quotables in it. Like I literally listen to it on repeat for like an hour cycling to work. Just picking up all of the bars. Like,
I was gonna put an older song on there. I did want to put I come across the Gentleman Ruffin album a couple weeks ago, and there's a lot of quality music on there. If you have a spare hour, check that out. But I'm going to go for it's not necessarily new, but Mine by Alex Isley and Jack Dan.
Alex
What is
Isley
this
is
segment?
sick.
You have to explain this to me.
Basically, we pick some song that we
Either new, or it can be new, or it can be old, but something that you really like that you think people should hear, and we kind of bounce back and forth.
You have a
what it
whole
is.
show dedicated.
Dedicated to this. I know that's why in my head I'm like, what do I want? I think Masego dropped earlier, a couple of days ago, and there's a lovely 112 flip in there if you like 90s flips. So I'd say,
We like 90 splits, but we don't like 112.
oh no, right.
This alright, so I'm sure the song's dope, but just 112 overrated. Sorry, Shaq.
But listen to Bye Felicia by Masego. That's going to be my...
Yeah, I like Masego anyway.
But, oh, he's amazing on the sax.
Thanks for coming through. If you want to tell the people where they can find you at once more.
You can find me on all socials, that Melis D, that's DEE. You know, follow me on Twitter and Instagram so you can get some good music reviews in your life.
Very good music reviews.
Thank you very much. Keep you up to date with the latest in UK R&B, UK neo soul, and soul.
But, yeah.
I would say you could find us on socials, but Twitter have suspended our podcast Twitter account
with us,
What?
with no words whatsoever. I peeled it almost 2 weeks ago and I ain't heard shit, so I'm gonna holler at them again. But we are BRL_podcast at Insta and Twitter. Obviously, neither of them have been particularly active recently, but we're looking like we're kind of back now. I mean, you can always follow me and talk to me about music. Mine's Ash Page. You know, feel free. I'm gonna be promoting the fuck out of whatever we do on Fleet.
On Fleet.
Putting those fleets out there in music so people can't say, oh, why didn't you tell me about this or that?
Yeah, and you can find me at Riz Explains All. Don't come and talk to me about it.
Don't follow me, don't talk to me, don't say nothing.
Leave me the fuck alone.
No, I'm joking. If you've got some nice R&B that you want to send my way, and also if you would like to make an appearance on the show, we are open to having some guests of a musical.
Definitely. There's some people that I wanted to get on before that we haven't got on for one reason or another, so reach out to them. And there's other people I'm going to chase as well, because, they should be on the show.
I've had fun, guys.
I've
New
had great
space
fun.
and that.
Yeah.
New space and that. It's comfortable in here.
Nice. I like the setup.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Yeah, peace.